And here we welcome Miss Isabel Joely Black and welcome. Thanks.
Okay, this is me. I am, well, technically I'm Dr. Isabel Joely Black because I was supposed to PhD a few years ago. That was lots and lots of fun. And this is what I do. This is what gets me up in the morning every single day and has done for the last 10 years. This is Amnar. It's my series of books. In the last 5 years, I've written 17. But this basically is my story. This is how I came back to writing. After basically being told by the whole world, when you go to your career advisor and everything, they go, oh, no, you'll never be able to do that. You should do something sensible. You should do something that makes money. So, I wrote my first book when I was 9 years old. I used to sit in the playground and write books. And then we'd go and play, and we'd be sort of running around with toy swords and things like that. And I'd be inventing worlds for people. And I'd be saying, oh, right, there's the dragon over there, we're going to go and fight the dragon. And this person over here. Lots of imaginary friends. And I turned them into books, turned them into stories of people. And then, of course, I got older and I went and I did my GCSEs and I was brilliant at English and I was brilliant at geography. And I said, my dad said to me, I will never forget this piece of advice, he said, everyone on the dole queue has an English degree. Don't do English. And it's possibly the only piece of advice I've ever actually listened to from anybody. I'm really bad at taking advice. But I did, I listened to him. So I went off and did a geography degree. At the time, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do because all I really wanted to do was be a writer. But everyone was saying I couldn't do that. And I was absorbing all this advice and saying, oh, you know, I won't be able to do that, so I'll go and do something else. So I did my degree in geography, which was fantastic, by the way. I know you're all business students, aren't you? Anyone doing geography? Any geographers here? Well, I will talk a little bit about the advances of doing English really bit. But I did a geography degree, which was great because I got to travel all over the world. I got to see all kinds of different places. I go to one lecture in the morning which is about macroeconomics, the lecture in the afternoon is about 19th century landscapes. And all that time I didn't realise, I was thinking, oh, I want to be a writer, and I can't do it. I was actually building up a huge amount of knowledge in landscapes, in people, and how they work. And all of that was starting to feed into the ideas for the books that I started writing later. And all this time I used to write. I write all the time, I write constantly. I keep a blog, I do 3 posts a day. I've got a friend who says I write 3 posts a day, and they're the longest post that anyone has ever written 3 times a day. So I write an awful lot. I have an average of about 10,000 words a day, and that can be even when I'm doing other things. So I'm an obsessive writer. So now this is how I do, this is what I do. I breathe, you know, words, basically. So anyway, I finished my geography degree, and when I'd been about 11, I said, oh, I want a PhD. So I went to my department, I said, do you think I should do a PhD? And they went, yes, that'd be an excellent idea. So I stayed on and did a PhD. And while I was doing this, I started talking to some friends about the ideas that I had for this world. An original draft was written back in '99. And they said, it's just brilliant, you should do this, you should write this. So I sat down and started writing. And I had to have a blog. Now, I've been writing online for 11 years. And so I was already quite well known as an online writer. You know, I'd show up and I'd talk about all kinds of stuff. And so I put my stuff up there, and everyone went, oh my God, it's fantastic. And it was me thinking, oh, no one will ever be interested, I just write for myself. And remembering what my dad had said, you know, don't do an English degree, everyone dole, an English degree. And at the time, and this is kind of a rather sad story, I actually suffered from very, very severe depression, probably because I wasn't doing what I really, really wanted to do. I was trying to do what everybody else wanted me to do. And I ended up with severe anorexia and depression. If you'd seen me 6 years ago, I was not expected to live to 30. I passed my 30th birthday last October. I was considered to be terminally ill with brain damage, that I would never make it do anything in the world. I'd never be able to cope without medication. 6 years ago, actually this month, I went to my doctor. I was so depressed, I was so miserable, I couldn't cope, couldn't do what I was doing anymore. I went to my doctor and said, I'm going to quit being anorexic. And he went, seriously? And I went, yes, I'm not taking the meds anymore. I'm not going to go inpatient. I'm just going to eat. I'm going to eat. I'm just going to eat. I said, okay. Right. And I went to see a friend of mine. I said, I feel like having a chicken sandwich. And so she went down with me. And I hadn't eaten in public for years. I mean, I used to weigh 4.5 stone. I was really, really skeletally thin, really thick. And we went down together and I had my first chicken sandwich in something like 15 years. And I was the start of it because it made me realise the power that I had within me to make decisions and start change. A month later, I was considered completely cured of anorexia and depression. I have never had to take any medication since then. And my doctor thinks I'm a walking miracle. I moved down to Manchester 5 years ago. I was penniless, had no money. Walked into a temp agency, got myself a temp job. At the end of the week, they gave me some typing to do. And I said, oh, what's this? And I looked at it and went, you know what? This would work much better as a database. And the director of the company went, can you do that? And I went, yes, I just built 3 databases for my PhD. I'll do it if you build me a job. So I got my first job. So what I did for 2 years was I worked full time, I had a contract job, I'd go home in the evening, I'd write my PhD till 9 o'clock, and then I sat down and wrote Amnar, and that was what kept me going. Didn't matter that I didn't have any money, or there was no hot water in my apartment, because I used to wash all my clothes in hot water, boiled with a kettle, with a wooden spoon. That's why I've still got that wooden spoon, and it's never been used for making soup, it's just used for washing the damn clothes. So there I was, and that was what kept me going, all of that time. And I started submitting as well. And of course, you know what happens when you start doing your standard submissions. Most writers don't know much about how to write a good query letter, how to really put their work out there, because you're so involved in your work. When I start talking about Amnar, and I start saying, oh, well, there's servants, and there's Tadasi, and there's Amnari, and they're doing all of this, that, and the other, and everyone's like, well, what's a servant? What's a Tadasi? What are you talking about? I don't even speak that language. So very often writers struggle with that. But I just kept putting my work out there, putting myself out there. I blogged every single day, 3 times a day, every single day. So I had a whole bunch of people behind me. I ended up with something like 150 dedicated readers. And I'm nobody, I'm just sort of sitting there, living my life, being part of this. And they feel like they're part of this transformation as well. I start getting emails from people saying, I've been anorexic all my life. I'm desperate. I've just read your story. I'm going to my doctor tomorrow and I'm going to talk to him about getting treatment and about getting help, and I'm going to recover from this. And this is just me writing about my life. Just doing what I love. And I start putting out Amnar more and more. I had a friend come to me and he said, I've got contracts in the publishing industry. I've seen your work, been reading you online for 3 months. You're a brilliant writer, you deserve to be published. So he got in contact with all his contacts, and they've been working incredibly hard. We had a massive deal back in 2007. And this is a really, really important lesson for you guys.